Two Brothers 2 is the continuing story of Sam and Luke and their two younger brothers, Tommy and Joseph. 5,000 days in the making. Watch Sam, Luke, Tommy, and Joseph negotiate the journey of adolescence and the road to young adulthood. While they don't have it all, they do have each other. And this is their story. The last time we saw Sam, he got called into mission.
To labor in the Chile conception mission. Going to Chile.
We just barely got electricity last night because there was an earthquake.
The mission's really hard sometimes, but I feel like it's making me a man.
And just before Sam returned, Luke got his call.
You're assigned to labor in the Cambodia Film Fin mission.
They were given 1 hour together at the Missionary Training Center.
All right, Luke. See you in 2.
As Luke left on his mission, Sam was left with the challenge of fitting his new self into his old life. So Sam, you've been back from the mission how long?
About 3 months.
And how are you feeling?
I'm getting used to the American lifestyle. Surprisingly really easy to get used to. Well, and also on the mission, everything's taken care of. Yeah. Just focus on the people that I taught, and it was really fulfilling, and I was focusing on things that were really significant things. I'd find someone and I would help them quit drinking. The things I'm working for now are less significant than the things I was working for back then. It's weird finding how the new you fits in the old world. It's a weird transition, for sure.
You enter the mission when you're kind of a boy, and you come back and all of a sudden you're kind of an adult. You start making adult decisions.
Decisions like?
Getting married. I was thinking maybe I should put it off so that I can work long hours and decide what I'm going to do with my life.
Do you know?
Having a really hard time. Seems really stupid not to go into dentistry or orthodontics. My dad knows everything. He's got a great practice I can walk into. But at the same time, that's it's not like my dream to become an orthodontist. I don't know if people are born to be entrepreneurs, right? But if that happened, I feel like I'd be one of those people. Just ever since I was a little kid.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
An inventor.
What do you do for fun?
I make my website.
I would love to be an entrepreneur, even though it's a lot more risky than being a dentist.
So tell me about your decision to become an orthodontist.
Going into orthodontics makes so much sense. Just knowing how well my dad does, how often he works.
I made this thing where you trip over a cord and this light flashes and an alarm goes off, like for a room alarm.
Well, this whole summer I went to school to take science classes to catch up to do orthodontics. It's such a no-brainer to do what my dad does.
I'd like to invent some remote control rollerblades.
Anything that I've been the best at has been using a certain side of me that I won't use in orthodontics. When I was going through kind of my hard time in high school, when I had goals that I was excited about and I knew that I could accomplish with God's help. Everything physically, mentally, and spiritually, every part of my life just seemed to fall into place. Because I had an excitement about life. This last few months, as I was doing these science classes, despite just having everything going for me, life wasn't the same. I don't know if I can put a price tag on my excitement about life and the real me.
When you talk about how the things you did on your mission seem so much more important than things you're doing now, one of those things involved a kid named Luciano.
So Luciano is what you'd call an outlier in all of the best ways. Unnaturally resilient in the face of things he had to deal with when he was a kid. He lost his right eye to cancer and had family difficulties that really no kid should have to go through. And the gospel resonated with him in a special way that was unique to anyone else that I'd worked with on my mission. And eventually he was baptized.
Other missionaries came to me, but they were not like Elder Nelson.
Luciano was loving every minute of everything. He was just getting baptized, and
I feel so good with the joy in my heart. I wish this feeling could last my whole life.
when we left, he was like crying. He was like, oh, he's just the sweetest kid.
I knew I was going to miss him a lot.
Okay, so I get back to the US and I'm dealing with my first world problems of figuring out what I want to do with my life, what job's gonna be the most fun, how I pretend that I'm cool again in the US, and then I get a call about Luciano.
Tell me where you were when you heard the news about Luciano.
I remember exactly where I was when I heard about it. It was one of those flashbulb memories.
His father called me.
I was on the way to a meeting when I got a call that Luciano had been in an accident. I assumed maybe he fell, or maybe a car hit Luciano. But when I found out it was a train that hit him, my mind assumed the worst. When I got to the hospital, I saw Luciano. His leg and arm had been amputated, but he was still alive.
The exact moment the accident happened, I was riding my bike near the tracks, and I got too close when the train came by, and it sucked me and my bike into the tracks. I hoped my arm could be saved, but it couldn't. I remember everything. How the train cut my arm, it is stuck in my mind.
How's your dad taking
It was
it?
really rough on his dad.
Sometimes he feels helpless, because he's here in the hospital and he can't do anything to really help me. He also feels guilt because he's the one who told me to get on the bike and go to where he was.
Then you went down and interviewed him, and suddenly I knew what I had to do.
I worry more about my dad than I do myself.
You're a good son.
He's a good dad.
You've had some bad fortune in your life. With cancer, your eye, your mom, and now this accident. Are you mad at God?
I'm mad at myself. I was lying here last night just mad at myself for not being smart enough to stay away from the tracks. I was too close. And now it caused my family and friends so much pain and heartache. This will affect my life in a lot of ways.
Are you still interested in computer programming? Do you think you can be an example of hope to others?
I don't want to be an example. I just want to go back to being the same kid I was. I still feel the same. This is just a moment in time. I won't be sad about it forever. I just need to restart my life again. My goals are to get out of the hospital, go home and start healing, get some prosthetics and be able to stand up and walk again. We just have faith that together we will be able to get through this.
You have a crystal ball. What do you want to know most about your future?
That my kids will be healthy.
Luciano, I want you to close your eyes and think of the happiest memory from your childhood.
When I got out of kindergarten and I hugged my father,
I seem to remember you're a pretty good hugger.
I will give half hugs, but I will give them twice as hard.
Next time on Two Brothers 2.
Probably I have the best chance of anyone to help Luciano. You know, I can be a catalyst for things on a scale that was never even possible on the mission. I could do bigger things. This is what he needs to have a functional life. And we just need to figure out how to get there. So yeah, we start dating and I start conspiring to marry her. And
So think about the safe Sam thinking about dentistry versus the Wild West Sam right now.
I guess the real me is the Wild West Sam.